Call to order the meeting of the Commission of the Use of Publicly Owned Properties, Cupop. And today is a special meeting, and something happened. We all know that we voted on the dates, and it should have been a regular meeting, but somehow the dates weren't registered with the town clerk, and so therefore we're calling it a special meeting. But the next meetings will be up through December, January, I think, up through January. They will be regular meetings. So just FYI. And since we're on that topic, let me just also say, well, we'll get to it. And so no public comments, but I do want to make a comment. I ran into a resident, and she said that she would try to come to the meeting, and maybe she'll come to the next one, but she had suggested that we consider getting a professional gardener for the town, for the beautifications, to plan a professional gardener planning. And I said to her, very expensive, who's going to pay for it? And she says, oh, we could raise the money. So I said, well, let's listen to your suggestion, and we'll take it from there. But so just mention that for public comments, and we'll move on to the approval of the June minutes. Give you a couple minutes to look them over? You read them, okay? Just give everybody else a couple minutes. Nicole wasn't here. All right. Motion?
Motion approved.
Motion to approve the minutes as written? Second, Nancy. So, Marty, Nancy seconded. Okay, so passed. Let's have a vote, everybody? All in favor?
Yes.
Unanimous. Okay, very good. All right, so let me introduce now, we're very excited to have Nicole Donzello. And I know she's a public defender, an attorney, and welcome. We want to welcome you warmly. We're very excited to have you. We have a great members here on this commission. We're very, very fortunate. Everybody's a worker, so we look forward to working with you. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, a little more?
I have resided in Woodbridge for 3 years. Prior to that, I was in Westville. I have 2 children. One just started middle school this year. My son, that's my daughter. My son is a 4th grader at Beecher Road.
Okay.
And I am involved in the town in different ways. First, I was involved with the dog park. Secondly, I'm involved with the Amity Pop Warner League with my children, and Bethwood Baseball League, the usual.
The usual, yeah.
So, love living here. It's great, and I look forward to helping out the town in any way I can with my service. So.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for having
joining.
me.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Okay, and let's move on to item number 5, workshop feedback and future topics. September 3rd workshop, what's in and what's out for recycling, was outstanding. And I attended it. There were about 25 people in attendance. And it was really more on the plastics, and getting away from plastics, and, how to, what to put, like pizza boxes now are in, before they used to be out. They just can't have the food in them. If they're pretty much clean, you can put them in with the recycles. The other thing that I'm kind of disappointed about is the shredded materials. They're out now. Before they were in, okay? So the reason is because they're so small that they can clutter the machine and stop the machine from working. So that's why they're out. So now when I recycle my paper, I try to just recycle the address and put the bigger pieces in the paper recycling bin. So, but it's actually a very, very good workshop, and the people reached out to me and they said they would come back and do whatever we needed them to do. So if there's something else that we would like to do we could consider inviting them again. So they were outstanding. Also, okay, so then we have the workshop that was initially, and I want to welcome back Nancy too. Nancy, welcome back. You look wonderful. Yeah, so we missed you. And so what had happened was that Nancy had scheduled Jeff Ward for September 10th, and Jeff Ward works for the Agricultural Center in New Haven, and basically he we had a little communication problem, and so we had to reschedule him. So we had to cancel the 10th, and we rescheduled him for November 18th. And the workshop will be on invasive species at the town library from 6 to 7:45. And I spoke to him on the phone. He's very knowledgeable. He gave me some topics that he could talk about. He mentioned the barberry. We're going to continue talking about the barberry and what also you had suggested with the hogwort and and everything else that you had.
Hogwort is in, right? Hogwarts is a
That's,
school from.
Was it
Harry
Mug?
Potter.
Mug? Oh, Harry Potter. Okay. Was it what?
Hogwarts.
What's it?
Lungwort.
Hogwarts.
What's it called?
Lungwort.
What?
Lungwort? Well, lungwort.
Lungworts. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, Nancy mentioned a bunch of invasive species, and so he said that he would talk about them, plus the deer population. He would also talk about the deer population. And the other thing that we have to remember, and we can talk about this, is that with the invasive species, and especially the barberry, studies have shown that the Japanese barberry attracts white-footed mice, and they carry ticks. And studies have shown that if you have one of these plants on your property, there's a 75% chance of getting Lyme disease. So it would behoove all of us to get trained to see what the Japanese barberry looks like. And I think we should start with the Japanese barberry first, and concentrate on that. And then, move on to other invasive species. But that's what I think we need to focus on. And the other thing that I wanted to update you on is that the state just passed an invasive species bill, which is now law. The new law, which will start on January 1st, 2020, will require a $5 boat stamp for Connecticut boat owners and a $25 stamp for out-of-state boat owners to help fund invasive species removal from state rivers as well as lakes. So that's a new law. And then they have a training for volunteers on invasive species, and there's the link that we gave you right here. And what I'd like to see, and we talked about it briefly last time, is an ordinance maybe in town I don't know how, maybe we could have a little discussion about how do we want it worded? And how do we wanna move forward with it? Do we wanna just say, ban nurseries? We'll start with Woodbridge and then we'll move forward, with the state. But I figured if we start with Woodbridge, then, move on. And, do we wanna ban Japanese barberries nurseries from selling them here in Woodbridge and from a property? It's gonna be hard to monitor, obviously, because if it's just Woodbridge that bans them, but I think if other towns see that we started, maybe they'll get on the bandwagon. So, what are your thoughts on this?
Popular selling item? Is it like pretty and people buy it often?
Well,
Is that-
it's, I don't personally think it's pretty, the green one, the wild one. But then they have a species which the nurseries have kind of developed in its reddish and brownish, goldish color, and that's prettier. But I think it's also inexpensive. And so I think that landscapers like it because it's inexpensive and they can throw it in there to give variety and depth in the landscaping plan. So, what are your thoughts?
November, the leaves are gonna be off all the trees.
Right.
And
So it's gonna be hard to identify them.
Yeah.
But they have red berries.
yes.
They have
do.
red berries, so if you see little bush, usually it doesn't grow very big. If you see a little bush and it has red berries and little thorns, that's what it is. But again, it doesn't have to be, but we could start working on this ordinance and, because it's gonna take a while before it even gets approved. It's gotta go to the ordinance committee and then the Board of Selectmen has to approve it first before it goes to the ordinance committee, and then, so this is our recommendation or our suggestion to the Board of Selectmen. Again, we don't make recommendations, we can make suggestions to the board, and the board, can either deny it or approve it, so.
Is there any chance of getting the schools involved with it?
Oh, we
As part of
could,
their education?
yeah, we could. Right now, they're working on the compost. Yeah, so they're doing a lot they're doing a lot.
Yeah, they're
It's
doing a whole
ama-
green
it's-
initiative.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing what they're doing with the compost, so.
There are no nurseries in Woodbridge.
Yeah, not
Yes,
yet.
there are. There's
Which-
Amity Gardens.
Where's that?
That's Bethany.
Bethany.
Yeah, that's
That's
Bethany.
up high. There
Okay.
used to be Pilates. but
Pilates
that
is closed,
And
yeah.
then there's some farm stands like Brookside
Yeah.
and things like that, but
But I don't think they sell,
They swallow
yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
they just do more
Not
plants.
any.
Does
Uh,
the state statute speak to anything regarding this Japanese bush, or does it not?
I don't think
specifically
it
to-
does.
'Cause I'm not familiar with the state statute.
Yeah,
as
because
of now.
Yeah, maybe you can look into it,
Yeah.
see if,
Just curious to see what
to
they
see
say.
what they have, if they have anything.
Maybe mimic,
And mimic something maybe another town has, because that's, always good.
There was an attempt at the state level to outlaw,
To ban,
to ban the bushes. And the nurseries men have a very good
Yeah.
lobbyist.
yeah,
And he prevented that from being enacted.
yeah,
So the nurserymen have their own system. They sell them, they still sell them, but they don't have berries, so they don't reproduce. So it's a sort of
That's-
a compromise.
so that's a positive. But they still
We can
there, and
try.
they still attract the mice, but they don't reproduce, which is, the other ones with the red berries reproduce, and you go into the woods, they're all over the place. All right, well, why don't we do some research? If everybody could do, some research what other towns, if other towns have it, and then come back, in October, so that we could discuss it further. Okay, then we have the plan of conservation and development. I have one of the initial copies. So we have to find out, Sheila was kind of spearheading this, you know, to making sure that we got everything done. I think it was, the deadline was 2020, but I'm not sure. So I need to research this and figure out. But a lot of these things, I'm looking at it, and a lot of these things are either pending, they're being worked on, and for example, if you look at the bottom there, prioritize facilities upgrades, we know that with the Small Cities Grant, the ramp to the senior center, the handicap is made handicap accessible, and so, you know, that is happening. So so this is, you know, we worked on the water, so I just wanna make sure that everything that we're responsible for, you know, we're working on it, and we get it done. And then we'll try to find out who else is involved in getting the other commissions or committees, you know, to work on it. If it's Cupop, or if it's some other, or if it's just the Board of Selectmen who's on top of it. So we'll get back to you.
At the meeting, the Democratic Town Committee meeting, there were, you know, basically representatives from a whole bunch of boards and commissions. And everyone seemed very interested in getting together to work collectively on some of these projects. It sounded a lot more positive than before,
Oh, good.
so
That's good.
That's positive.
Good to hear, good to
Yeah.
hear. Okay, so, research on underground UI wires. Okay, as far as the information that I received is, it's not happening, it's too expensive. So, too expensive. Again, if you said that it's being done, so if you can find out where it's being done,
In Orange,
and yeah, and who's paying for it, you know, then,
well, it was the new development.
okay, so it's a new development, so obviously then the developer is paying for it.
And in Wallingford, I think, was another really long street, and again, it was a new development.
Again, yeah, so I would think that maybe that would have to be worked into the regs for development, or, you know, new buildings.
And Wallingford, isn't Wallingford, correct me if I'm wrong, don't they have their own
They have their own-
internal
Power.
power?
They're their own
Yeah.
power company.
Yeah.
Some of the newer
Yeah.
streets in Woodbridge are underground, so I think, I don't know if it's
New
something they do
construction.
normally
Yeah,
in
right.
construction, so,
Yeah.
right, to do the old
I know,
developments, it's
I
gonna
know
be
there's
tough.
a Meadowcrest, and there's Crestview, and then I think there's Meadowcrest off Crestview. And I know those lines are underground, yeah, so it's, you know, it depends on, if it's a newer development or if it's new development. And I think they do try, and I think that the developer will probably have to pay for it. It's something that
Part of
the
the
developer,
construction.
yeah, would have to pay for.
If the country club is developed, a third
Yeah.
of it is built upon, then that would be a good
Yeah,
area to
Absolutely,
build that into
to
the
make
requirement.
make that suggestion.
I would think it would be, with a development like that, would be
Yeah.
automatic.
Automatic, but I think
So-
that it would be good to
I don't
to-
think so.
duly note it, that,
Check,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, that with the new development in town, that our suggestion would be that, you know, that would have to go to the TPZ.
The
Um,
other, I don't know that there's much land for development, but you never know.
No, there isn't much land, but there
So
are
there's
still a few parcels that are
Yeah.
being built upon, yeah.
Well, they can have underground.
Yeah, yeah. Well, even with like, you know, repairs, I know that I had to, replace my pump. And so they came and they said it has to be all, different wiring, it had to be grounded, it had to be, I mean, you know, cause the specs have changed.
Bring it up to today's
To
code
be-
and
to
then you
today's
do
codes.
something major
So-
like that.
So when you have repairs to your house, it all has to be brought up to code, so, yeah.
When, if this is, I don't wanna go off topic,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it is a utility question.
Yeah,
Has there ever been any discussion about bringing gas lines into the town?
there are some gas lines in town,
Right, on the main roads.
on the main roads.
But what about expanding that to the rest of the town?
It would have to be a group of residents
Mhm.
who are interested in that,
Mm-hmm.
and then it would be cost effective for the gas company to
Mhm.
do something like that.
Okay.
Okay.
Just curious, okay, thank you.
You're welcome, yeah. Cause I looked into it, you know, I said, okay, can you bring it up, it's just a little bit, you know, more, okay, so,
It's tough.
I know,
So-
nice.
we're gonna discuss a potential new Cupop project, and this is the management of invasive species on publicly owned properties, so there are three phases. One is to identify publicly owned parcels with invasive species, with description of parcels, sunny, shady, wetlands, etc. Two, identify invasive species on each parcel. Three, prioritize cleanup, removal, and replanting via volunteers and master gardeners. I think they're in the process of, hiring a new scout, trail master, new trail master. So with the new trail master, this could be a project. For example, I took a walk a couple Sundays ago to the Fitzgerald property, and there, on the left-hand side of the parking lot, I noticed, they were small, but I noticed Japanese barberry. So I took a picture, and I, you know, forwarded it to Betsy, and I explained to her what it was, and, you know, that where it was, and then they would make a list, which ones are a priority, and then they would start, you know, getting rid of them.
Mhm.
So it would behoove us, you know, to kind of learn which are the invasive species and what they look like. And you know, maybe start taking pictures of some, well, we're gonna start with the Japanese, you know, barberry. What I'll do next time is you know, I have some pictures. I'll forward the pictures to you and have you look at them, study them, and then, you know, we'll start with them, and then we're gonna do the burning bush as another one, but that's not as, critical, I think, as the Japanese barberry. You know, yes, they're invasive, but, you know, they drop seeds and they grow all over the place. In fact, up and down my street, there's like a slew of them, but it's not as bad as the Japanese barberry.
Do we know if there are any, aside from the potential for ticks, are there any other health risks with those plants?
That's what I was
Allergies or
wondering.
poisonous, like poison ivy?
No,
or-
I don't know. Well,
No.
poison ivy, that's also,
If they do attract the mice that have the ticks, and we're asking maybe kids to get involved, we have to be careful and make sure that
Yes.
they're protected
That's
so
what
I'm
that they're
thinking
not
about.
exposed.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, well, we're only asking them to identify them.
Oh, okay, not do the removal.
No, they're not doing the removal.
Okay.
Yeah,
So who would the volunteers
the-
be
the-
that do the removal?
no, that would be the scout, the trail master. The trail master, new trail master would work on, you know, getting maybe the crew, the town crew
Oh, I see.
to possibly get, yeah, so
Yeah.
would,
The reason I asked also, aside from what you just said, is, I thought maybe it would open it up to other venues, that perhaps we could get other people involved if they thought there were health concerns.
yeah.
you
Oh,
know?
definitely, the
Yeah.
poison ivy, you know.
Well, that, yeah, yeah.
You know, I think if you walk up and down, and that, I think, brings me to the next, item, and, well, it's really, let's see, where is it? Oh, it's part 10, chairman's update, the potential for grass blight ordinance. And again, I'm walking up and down my street, and some people, but even driving through Woodbridge, some people cut the area by the shoulder of the road 2-3 feet. They keep it mowed, or they weed whack it, whatever. But then some people just let it grow wild. And to me, that creates a situation which is dangerous for pedestrians. So if pedestrians are walking, and if they see a car, they have to jump into something. I'd rather be jumping into a mowed area,
Sure.
knowing that it's mowed, not an area that has high grasses and you don't know what's in there. And ticks, high grasses attract ticks also. So that's maybe another ordinance that, and bicyclists too, again, to have, bicyclists, to be able to, veer off. And then you have all these telephone poles, and then if people don't cut around them, you have the trees growing again. And the UI company has cut down all the trees pretty much around most of the telephone poles. And I think the state is going around, I'm not sure. Do you know, Tony, if it's the state or the town that's going around and cutting?
I do not know.
No, okay.
Sorry.
But I've seen them, I'm sure we've all seen them.
Yeah.
They're driving around and they're just cutting all the grasses, the high grasses, that are on the side of the road. And it's looking, cleaner. It doesn't look like, unkept. And so what are your thoughts? What do you think about that? Is that something that we should consider?
Cost effective?
Well,
Is
it
it-
wouldn't be, we would say that each property owner is responsible for that
Their own
area,
portion.
their own property.
So the town wouldn't have to do it.
Yeah, so,
Yeah. I don't see why not.
Or is it anything already on the books? Cause there are
Yeah.
blight laws already, so
Mhm.
does it encompass someone who doesn't cut their grass and lets it grow?
yeah,
So that might be something to figure out first, cause there might already be something.
I just
Okay.
wanted to mention that it is on the agenda for the next ordinance committee.
okay,
And there is a question, as you're exactly right, as to whether it'll fall into the existing blight ordinance.
okay. So maybe, since it's on the ordinance committee already, do we wanna take a vote to say that we're in favor of supporting this?
So you said the next step is to have it on the agenda to,
I understand that it is already on the agenda for the next ordinance committee. I don't know the date of that meeting, but maybe somebody from here would want to attend that meeting.
Okay, maybe you can let me know when the meeting is, and then,
There was a speaker at the library about 2 years ago, and she was advocating for not mowing your front lawn.
why?
She said, "Oh, it's very exciting to see what comes up."
Oh, for like a natural, wildflower garden or something?
Well, there's one house on Ansonia and Woodhaven maybe that doesn't mow, and I thought he had signs out that said, natural habitat, don't mow,
Well,
for
he was
that
at,
exact reason.
yes, he was at the same lecture.
Yeah.
I
well,
guess.
I'm not saying if they want to have a natural habitat on their lawn, that's their prerogative.
Right.
I'm just saying the front by the road,
Street.
the street. That's, if somebody's walking, we don't have sidewalks, and so at least they have that area to jump off or, to hop onto if they see a car coming and,
Is there anything that would apply to snow removal with regard to that we could tie into it? Or
No, there's
nothing
no-
on the books for
no,
that?
yeah.
Does the property line end at a certain foot off the road? In other words, what part does the town,
I think
I
there's.
know like when they chop up your driveway, for example, by mistake they have to come and
Certain
fix like the
clearance,
first few
yeah.
feet.
Feet,
Yeah.
Does
yeah.
that apply to
I think it
grass?
does, I think it does,
So
but-
that might affect this if, if they're cutting their grass right to the edge, but then there's that 2-foot strip that's really part of the town, maybe they feel
Yeah,
I'm not sure, I'd have to, I mean, I don't know the
Okay.
answer.
I'd be curious to see at the ordinance meeting and researching the blight law already,
Okay.
if it encompasses that or
Okay.
what it encompasses.
all right.
Yeah.
So,
Like,
it's already-
all right, we'll
Selectmen
research
level.
the blight law and, find out when the next blight meeting is, and we'll table it also for further discussion, next time. All right. So, as you know, there's a town donations and beautification, plans. I believe there are 15 trees that have been, donated already. The crab apples have been planted along the Center Road, and they're looking into planting some more over this fall. And Litchfield Turnpike, I understand that a lot of people are asking me what's happening with that, when's it gonna be finished. I understand it may be finished by the end of September, but I think maybe probably end of October,
Oh,
you know.
I know what
Yeah.
you're asking about.
Yeah,
There's a town park, passive recreation, and then there's the, Shepherd Farm.
yeah, no, I'm
That-
talking about the area, the village area by Starbucks and by the,
Oh.
yeah,
oh,
that's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about.
I-
All the construction there.
uh-huh.
So from what I understand, they're putting another ramp because the cars stay on the Merritt and cause problems when they line up for the exit.
Mm-hmm.
So by putting a third exit, and I think these two exits will turn right, and then one exit will turn left. And then, putting
Okay.
sidewalks there, you know,
Yeah, that'll help.
that'll help also. To make it more like a business district, so that
Yeah.
people that work in the area can walk and can, go to the shops and not be walking on the side of the road. Again, it's a hazard, so it should be, done soon. I know people are kind of frustrated with all the traffic, but I think also, as you go towards New Haven, they have 3 lanes there now, so, which is good. One lane goes to the Merritt, one goes straight, and the other one takes a left to get on to the Merritt, to go towards Hampton. So, I think it'll look really nice once it's all, completed. Right now, it's a sight to behold. Okay, so, I don't have any more information for you on the former Country Club of Woodbridge property. I heard today from Betsy Yegla that St. Pierre, is that the name? Yes.
Yes.
Mr. St. Pierre, who won the proposal, he
That is-
will
Has to be
he
voted on.
wanted some dates to meet with all the different commissions and committees to discuss his proposal. And so I requested our next October meeting for him and Beth Heller to attend, and so I don't have that confirmation yet, but once I have that confirmation, I will disseminate it to you. So that's in the works. The Fallapalooza, the First Church of
Oh,
Christ Arts
Can I
event,
just say something about the
Sure,
church? So I
sure.
don't know if anybody was at the first selectmen's meeting last week, but
No.
it was also televised, and there was a presentation on the country
Okay.
club. People were all the selectmen were asking questions of Insight, which is the
Right.
2 companies. So I just wanted everybody to be aware. I watched it last night. If you turn on 79, you
Yeah.
might wanna be able to catch it.
Yep. Okay, all right, thank you. I skipped the Orange Transfer Station tour, so, 4 of us from the Sustainability Committee, went to the Orange Transfer Station, and we were given a tour, and it's bigger than ours, but it was well run, and, they have cameras, people looking to see what the the residents are throwing away and if they're doing it properly. So they have cameras with monitors. But it just, I think ours is just more compact, you know, and the thing is, I went to the transfer station last week and I spoke to one of the employees there, and he informed me that the weight station is up and running as of last Tuesday, I believe. And so now they take charge cards, so if you're throwing something away that needs to be paid for, you know, you can pay through a
You don't have to come and get the permit first.
Right.
yeah,
You
so
do
I
it
think,
right there.
yeah,
Okay.
you could do it right there. And also, I guess the companies that, the haulers will be weighted, you know, and leaving as well as, you know, dropping off, some of them leaving and dropping off. So, so that's a go, and also the lines were all underground. So, you know, they put all the lines underground to the little shed there, so, it's all good. It looks great, it looks very nice and neat, and it's organized, it looks really, really good. So going back to, the Fallapalooza, there's gonna be a shredding truck there in the DPW parking lot between 9 a.m. and noon on October 19th. So mark your calendars if you are interested in getting some shredding done. And
What will they do with it now that they can't recycle it? Just
they trash it, I guess, yeah. But it's a service, you know, some people pay for it, so. Freedom of information, Nicole, maybe that's something you're interested in. I know Nancy went to one of these meetings, trainings, a couple years ago. And that is, there's a workshop on September 25th at 6:30 p.m. at Town Hall. And so if you're interested and you wanna go, it's always good to review or, you know, get more information. And we talked about the potential for the grass blight ordinance, and we're gonna talk about the upcoming Cupop meeting. So our next meeting is October 21st, and then November 18th. And then finally, these have all been approved, they're in the books already, right?
Yes.
Yep, December 16th and January 21st, because January 20th is Martin Luther King, so put them in your calendar, please. Is it October 21st that's gonna be, we're moving?
January 21st.
Oh, okay, January 21st. So January 21st, the Finance Commission is gonna be using this room. So we have been displaced, so we'll go back into the meeting room in the back.
Right.
So that's January 21st. So October 21st, we may have Mr. St. Pierre coming to present under the Country Club of Woodbridge. Any other items that we mentioned that we're gonna do the blight.
So we're gonna do the workshop on November 18th, the same night as the.
I was just gonna say that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. So what we'll do is we will not have the meeting on the 18th, and instead use that as our meeting
Yeah.
to go to this workshop. So is everybody in agreement with that? Yes? Okay. Motion?
Yeah.
Motion to move that we use that meeting date as our meeting. We'll just attend the workshop. And second? Who seconded it? Okay, Leslie. And how many people approve? Okay, all in favor?
All in favor.
Yeah, okay. So November 18th, that will be the workshop, and that will also count as our meeting, okay? And then December 16th, and then January 21st, we're moving into the other room. I invited new representatives to the Cupop Commission as liaison ex officio from the Conservation Committee and PPZ per our charter. So, we, as you know, we had Lauren Miller, okay, from the Conservation Commission, and I don't think she, I think she resigned, so she's no longer with them. But I did write to Jason Morrill, and he said that he will try to get somebody for us for the next meeting. So, and then the same thing, I reached out to Robert Clee. Yeah. And I reached out to him about having somebody from TPZ also as a liaison. Again, these people do not vote, but, you know, they keep us abreast and we can collaborate with the other two commissions. So it's good to have him here. I got an email back from also Joe Day, or yeah.
I think it's Joe Dodd.
Joe Dye, and he couldn't make it because he had the other meeting earlier, but we really were spoiled by David Lober. I mean, he really did a great job, you know, coming to our meetings and filling us in with all the information from the Board of Selectmen. So he said that it probably won't be like that, you know, because of his busy schedule, but we'll be happy to have him when he can attend. And so we had, let's just kind of recap for our next meeting. So we're having, what are we having? We may have the speaker, the builder, Mr. St. Pierre. We are going to look at the blight ordinance. We're going to review again the possible ordinance for Japanese barberry, and everybody's going to do some research on that. Anything else that is pending, or that we would like?
Waiting for the new trail master to be hired and then reach out to them.
Okay, all right.
Which I don't know when that's gonna get resolved, but
Okay.
I'll look into that.
Okay. Anybody else? Anything that you have a burning desire to put on the agenda?
Is there any question about, and I'm asking for a reason, about the development of the dog park?
Of the what?
The dog park, is there any news about it?
I don't have any news at this point.
No.
All I knew.
Do you have some?
I
We have
do.
some.
Oh, you do? Oh, yes, that's right. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I have a little bit of news. So we're at about 85% of the monies needed to break ground. So we anticipate getting that hopefully within the next month. So you may be hearing a lot about it in about a month.
Oh, good.
I'm hoping to get going on that this fall now, I guess, but hopefully by October and moving forward at that point. So
Good.
hopefully it'll be solidified at that time.
Good.
Yeah, one of the reasons I asked is because we just adopted a rescue, and we've been
You want the
using
park.
that.
Yeah.
And I'm not being selfish, no, I did notice one thing that, it occurred to me that the lighting there, that after a certain time, it's probably not a good idea to be there, at least we thought so, it felt very unsafe, and I was thinking about lighting in that whole area, just even in the beginning where the cars are, something that we might wanna consider. Could be underground, you do.
Yeah. And solar?
Yeah?
Yeah,
That's okay with me.
Well, that's, I guess, something that,
Yeah.
through the dog park.
And I think we're having our next meeting, our annual meeting in a couple weeks as well. So we're hoping that by then, actually, it's almost the end of September already. So I guess it's really in a week.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have that meeting then, and we should have the updates.
Perfect. All right, may I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Nancy? A motion to adjourn? Second the motion? Marty
Good.
seconds the motion to adjourn, and the meeting is adjourned at, to be exact, 7:14.